Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're living in interesting times. If you look at the headlines, Gen Z, they're often rage applying, they're quiet quitting, they're not happy. And so often you need to bring in a strategist like my next guest. Dana Williams is in the studio. She's a leadership strategist. She's a keynote speaker, and she's my friend. She's going to be on the show next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
All right, you see this on the news all the time. The media is fascinated with Gen Z. It's like it's a unicorn. It just there's never been a generation like this before. And I like to say that my father grew up during the Great Depression. I'm softer than my father. I'm a baby boomer. There's Gen X, and then there was millennials, right? I mean,
Alpha.
So I think every generation gets a little bit softer, and the challenge is the manager or leader of an organization is not going to change the people. They have to change themselves. And that's why I brought Dana Williams into the studio. She's a leadership strategist, keynote speaker, creator of the Authentic Imprint, which we'll talk about in a minute. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be in your amazing studio today.
You're so sweet.
Great.
You're so sweet. So I want to start with a little bit of your background, because you spent 25 years at such an iconic company, Southwest Airlines. Tell us about that journey, and what did you learn from it?
It was amazing. I started when I was 13 hearing about this little airline from my mom, who actually produced the first Southwest commercial, which is crazy. And then when I got out of college, I decided I love to travel. I thought, I want to get in the airline business. So I started in operations, and then I worked in hiring and training way back when. And then I found myself in marketing later on in my career. And so spent 25 years really, and I loved it because if we couldn't figure out something, if we needed something, we just figured it out. It was like, you have the permission to be an entrepreneur within this company.
Yes.
And that was what kind of really kept me going there, because I always got to create and develop and help make new things happen.
And during the years you were working at Southwest, they were always like in the top 10 of best companies to work for.
Yes.
What did Herb Kelleher get right?
People. I think the one thing I always learned, even when I was hiring, it was, hire for attitude, train for skill. And even to this day, when I'm looking at teams that I work with or hiring people to come help me, I'm always looking at, what does this person have? What is the hidden talent within that person?
Yes.
And how do I make them feel valued and use that every day?
All right, I want to scroll down your website. You have a beautiful website, and I want you to talk about the kinds of clients that you love to work with.
Oh my gosh. Well, of course, I love Southwest. That's one. I've been working a lot with children's health and with some other healthcare industries, as well as technology. I think the main thing, I am passionate about helping leaders and really getting in there and figuring out what's going on with them and then helping their team. And this is not a one and done when we come in and start working with a leader and their team. It's helping them transform from the inside out. So it's not a one and done. A lot of consultants will come in and go, I'll do a one-day training and train you on strengths or whatever tool they have. But what I realized is we are building a relationship, and we're going to help them grow. And we're all human. Yeah. And in this era of AI and all the things, you're like, what's real and what's not real? And I'm about the humanness and bringing that out into the organization and seeing what's happening, because it's been amazing to watch.
Wow. And Dana, I think you'll agree with me. Most companies are not good at training leaders. They take a salesperson and they say, well, this is the best salesperson, so we'll put this person in charge of the department. But they've never read a management book, and then soon they've chased away all of the team.
Yes. So what happens is somebody's really good at their job, and then they get promoted, and they're like, I don't know how to lead people. I don't know what I'm doing. And they're like, and they want to go back to executing and to being that. And then all of a sudden they get this title and they start thinking, this is who I am. I'm the VP. This is my title. And I come in and say, no, let's find out who you are uniquely through your strengths. I call this the Authentic Imprint.
Sure.
Let's discover what your unique talents are. Let's figure out what your core values are, your personal mission. And then let me train you how to use all that so that you can have emotional recognition. And we call that the Authentic Imprint. That is your leadership identity. And I had some amazing mentors and leaders at Southwest, but most people right now, they don't have anybody. There's just so much turnover. There's so many layoffs going on. And so we're saying, look internally first, and then let's train you from who you are internally. So it's a gap right now.
Yes.
Because people are performing instead of leading from their inside out.
Yes. Okay. Much more on that in a second. She wrote a best-selling book. We're going to put this on the screen so you can see it. The Internal Revolution.
Yes.
Okay. Share some wisdom from the book.
So I was one of those people. I had been at Southwest. We left. We're in Nashville for a while, came back, worked in marketing. And then all of a sudden I said, you know what? I am going to do something else for a while. So I took about 9 years off, and we started a school and did some nonprofit work, did some personal branding. And then I came back to Southwest and walked into the same spot, same office, same everything, overseeing advertising. And I felt something missing inside. And I was like, what is this? And I went on this journey. And that's about the time I learned about Clifton Strengths. And I found, well, the strengths is one thing, knowing yourself, but how do you operate? Are you living by default every day? Or are you living by intention? And so this book is really about how to live your unique self every day. And I called one of the vice presidents of advertising that I had worked with, and she said, if you would just tell people to quit performing and just be themselves. Yeah. And I said, yes, that is the gap.
All right, let's talk about that for a minute, because
yes.
The salesperson who's a rock star at sales suddenly gets promoted, and they're like, okay, well, what kind of leader should I become?
Yeah.
Do I become this my way or the highway leader? Do I become the friend leader? There's a million different leadership styles. So when you're working with a leader, how do you help them find their true strength?
I look at their strengths first, and then we talk about how can they be leader as coach? So many people get that title and they come in and think, I'm going to be the boss and I'm going to tell you what to do. Well, nobody wants a boss.
Right.
Just think about your football coach.
Yeah.
He didn't get there out there on the field with you. He coached you along the way. So many leaders try to get out there and do all the work, and they don't let go. I noticed when you were walking me around the studio today, you said, I'm just here. They're all doing their work. That's a leader, right?
Thank you.
And I think so many leaders and new leaders come in that, and some have it's an ego thing we see. And so it's like, you are so unique. When you're in your authentic self, Jeff, just like right now, it's so easy. But somebody else that is scared to get on the camera or ask questions, it's going to be a lot harder for them. So we're going to find their unique way that they can lead based on their talents instead of trying to be like somebody else.
Well, you talk about so many different things. I want you to talk about the addition trap.
Yes. So I was talking to a vice president of marketing at another organization just about 6 weeks ago. And I said, what are you dealing with right now? And she said, they just keep adding more and they're taking away more. So it's like this addition trap is what I'm calling it. Gallup calls it addition sickness, but it's where you're constantly thinking, okay, today we're going to do this, and then tomorrow we might do that, and there's no plan, and it's just chaos all the time. Well, as a leader in that situation, I would advise manage here. You can only control what my counselor said one time is in your hula hoop. You can't control all that. So let's control this and manage this.
And another thing you talk about is emotional recognition.
Yes.
Share more.
This is the biggest thing that I see in the workplace. So say you have something happen personally and you come in the office and you're just taking it out on everybody. Well, what if you had that situation at home, but instead of coming in and taking on everybody, you gave yourself a moment to think, okay, how am I showing up? We know from Gallup research that people can feel you 10 feet away.
Yes.
They can feel your energy and all that.
Yes.
So it's learning of, okay, this is going on in my life. I need to decide how I'm going to show up for the team this morning. And then midday, something else happens and you go out of whack. You know, guys, I'm going to go take a break, go for a walk, go get some food. I'll be back. And you process what's going on. What we tend to do is react instead of respond.
Yes. That is
And so
powerful.
Yes, right? In our families, people didn't want to be at home because they're having to deal with somebody. I'm dealing right now with a family member with some health issues. And I'm just like, I'm having to hold myself and my emotional recognition, which wants to go out and say, how can I serve you right now? What do you need? That must be tough. And so it's that active listening, Jeff.
That's so powerful.
That so many people forget.
All right, tell me one of your favorite success stories. You don't have to name the organization that you helped, but
Yeah. There's an organization story and then there's a personal leadership story. So I'll start with the personal leadership story because it's in the book. This was Sabrina, great, successful, had been at her career for a long time, and all of a sudden she gets laid off. And she calls me, she goes, I cannot believe they just laid me off today. And I don't know what to do with myself. And she was feeling like her identity was all about her job and her title. And so we had some long discussions and I said, I'm going to keep coaching you even though you're through this era. And, you know, going through this time, I just want to be there alongside you. Well, what she realized is she started volunteering and then she started realizing people were reaching out. She went, they're reaching out for me for who I am. So she really focused on her strengths. She focused on her values.
yes.
And then what her personal mission was. I said, now when you look for this next job, you need to look for something like that. But let's magnify it with your emotional recognition, which is part of the Authentic Imprint, those 4 areas.
That's beautiful.
So learning how to manage that. And she said, all of a sudden, I felt valued for who I really was.
I mean, do you consider one of your own strengths emotional IQ?
I have one of the strengths called individualization. So the way I might meet with you, Jeff, is different from the way I might meet with somebody else because I'm going to customize.
Yeah.
So I know that now about myself. And so when you know this, then you're like more confident because you go, I got this. It's right here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, you had another story that you were going to share.
Yes. So went into this big healthcare organization. They were having a lot of challenges, a lot of change, started working with their leaders, their teams, working with individuals that were having some challenges. They do an annual survey every year. And this year, they sent out a letter to me and said, thank you so much. We've raised our employee engagement over 16% since we've been working with you and your team. And I was like, because there's some things we know the team they're thriving, but you can't really measure that other than the energy in the room and when you're working with people. But I was like, well, there's the black and white of it.
I love it. I love it. You have a very popular podcast. We're going to put your podcast page up on the screen and kind of scroll down it. Tell us about your podcast and the kinds of guests that you like.
So Dominate Your Day podcast. And I really, when I started work, I loved to interview people and loved to get their stories. And then now it's transforming where I'm going to be doing a lot of coaching. So I'm going to be getting people like you on and just coaching you live and saying, okay, Jeff, let's work through this and let people hear about that.
That's so fun.
But one of my favorite interviews was recently with Eileen Collins. She was the first female astronaut to go up in space.
Wow.
But what I loved about interviewing her was her leadership story and how she really used mentors from books she read because she had a horrible childhood to really grow in her career. And she used a formula similar to the Authentic Imprint to help her.
Wow. Okay, we have about 2 minutes left, so I want you to look into the camera on the left and talk to that person who might need to bring you in and help their organization.
Yeah. So I want to talk to those leaders right now who are feeling a little off. It might be a quiet quitting inside of you or a kind of just a pop inside where something's not right and you don't know what it is. I've been there. I know you. I feel it. But we have resources to help you. And the Authentic Imprint, you can take that right now. It's free online, just go to my website. You can take it and see where you are in your authentic imprint and what area you need to work on. And I want you to start there, and then, or get the book, or come, give me a discovery call and we'll help you. But I want to help you first, and then we'll help your team, and then we'll see great growth. And it's really exciting to watch the growth and design something specially for you. But we hear you, we value you, and we're glad you're here.
Wow. Great way to close the show. We're also going to end with her website, which again is danawilliamsco.com.
Yeah.
The great Dana Williams. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for
You
having
bet.
me.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.